Hey guys, thank you very much for joining me this night. What an awesome night this is. We are 65 degrees warmer than we were a couple days ago. This feels really good. Problem is we're swinging back down 50 degrees. We went from minus 25 to 39. We're heading back to minus 10 tomorrow night or the night after. What a roller coaster, that's how it goes. Anyhow, I was reading an article about a family farm, and the comment section really got my blood boiling. It was full of these 20 and 30-year-olds. We all have met them online, whether it's a family member, a friend, or just somebody that we bumped into on social media, that will fight to the death to prove that you're wrong, they're right. Your life experience means nothing because they can show you a statistic to prove that what you experienced was wrong, even if they've never experienced it. They don't know what they're talking about, but they're going to argue it anyhow. So let's talk about GMOs. We're not going to debate whether GMOs harm people or not. There's been tens of thousands of tests around the world by every government, by pretty much all major universities, and nobody's been able to link it. But we're not going to argue that, because then it becomes, oh yeah, well look at this source that I found. This guy tested this somewhere and blah, blah, blah. I'm not going to debate that, not going to argue that. What we're going to argue about is, why are we using GMO crops? How is there any truth to the fact that GMO crops are good, or is there any false to how horrible GMO crops are? You hear about Frankencorn. That's just a stupid comment that stupid people put out. Actually, a comment that very smart people put out, because they make a lot of money off of selling documentaries about Frankencorn for stupid people to buy and watch and believe. So anyhow, how did GMOs come about? For us, GMOs came about for corn. There was a corn borer bug, and it would burrow up the stalk of the plant. Then in the summertime, the wind comes along and knocks that plant over. This isn't one of them things where when the farmer looked out the window, he's like, oh, look at that. A couple plants fell over, honey. I don't know what that is. This is one of them things that when you looked out your window after a corn borer infestation, that field was done. You looked out there and you thought, huh, look at there, honey. How are we going to pay the mortgage this year? How are we going to pay the kids' college tuition? Our crops are on the ground. They're done. There's nothing we can do. This is a very serious bug. So to fight that bug, until GMOs come along, is they started breeding stronger stocks, but farmers, we started using lots of chemicals. We would go through it. Each pass, we'd use 10 to 15 gallons an acre of water, a quarter gallon an acre of diesel fuel, and we would nuke that field of all bug life. Beneficial bugs, bad bugs, we would nuke it. And then a little while later, we'd come back and we'd do it again. And sometimes we came back a third time, depending on how bad the field was. Then GMOs come along. The GMO is all they did was alter one gene, where they added a protein to the plant. And what that did is, so when the corn borer bug came along and it started to eat the plant, it'd get a tummy ache, or it would die, or the plant would smell bad and it wouldn't even eat it. Each company kind of does their own thing, but them are the three common things. So it gets its tummy ache, and then it goes away. It stops eating the plants. It goes to eat other things in the soil. It saves our plant. We no longer spread 40 million some odd gallons of water fighting a bug. We don't spend millions of gallons of diesel fuel fighting a bug. We don't put chemicals out there killing every beneficial bug out there fighting one bad bug. To me, that seems like three massive wins or massive checks in the win column for GMO. Now there's parts of the country that they didn't have the corn borer. They can grow conventional corn just fine. Great. I would love to grow conventional corn. It doesn't make sense to me. Economic sense, it doesn't make sense. Environmental sense, it don't work for me. It's not a good product for me. Then we have the herbicide side of it. On the corn, since we can use Roundup, we no longer have to use things like atrazine. Atrazine? Look it up. Atrazine has polluted lots of wells around the country because we used to use a heavy dose of atrazine to control weeds. Now we have Roundup Ready corn. We don't even use atrazine anymore, but if I was to use atrazine today, I'd go with a quarter rate of atrazine and I'd spike it with Roundup. That's going to control my weeds. I don't need a full rate anymore, because the Roundup is a very safe chemical to the soil, and it is not very safe to the weeds. And then on the soybean side, same thing. They treated or altered that protein or the gene or added the protein to make our soybeans Roundup resistant. So same thing. We don't need to go in there with these super harsh chemicals and cause harm. We just go in with a very good chemical at a lower rate with a spike of glyphosate to control the weeds. It is another massive win in the column. On the corn side, they've also now, there's a couple other bugs that are showing up. So instead of going back to spraying insecticides again, they're like, well, we were very successful in treating or fighting off this bug. Let's just use a very similar protein or almost the same gene to fight off this other rootworm bug. And then some other diseases. Let's just do this. Now we can fight diseases through the plant instead of through chemical applications. I cannot fathom how somebody can say that that's a bad deal. I will challenge you this. If you can come up with a better way to grow corn for up in our area without using GMO, I'm all for it. I hope by now I have made it very clear on my videos that I am all for the land. I am trying to be the best steward of this land I can. Sometimes I put the land a little before profit, and that hurts on some years, but I'm in this for the long run. I play with a little conventional corn or non-GMO corn sometimes, just so I can learn and keep up and experiment and see what's happening. Can I go back to conventional corn? You know, the Frankencorn, that comment I just laugh at the ignorance and stupidity of Frankencorn. They say you need to control this thing because it's going to get away and it's going to just run rampant across the country. If I had a field of corn today and I did not combine it, in 10 years, you could walk out there. If you didn't touch that field for 10 years, you could walk out there, you would never even know that corn was in that field. The native species of plants would smother the corn. It would not be. In a couple years, you'd never see a new corn plant out there. It wouldn't happen. It can't happen. That's just how it works. The other plants are way too competitive at young growth, and they will smother the corn kernels out. That's just a simple fact of how that works. Guys, I hope I did a good job of explaining how we are saving millions upon millions of gallons of water across this country, and diesel fuel, and heavy chemicals by using GMO crops. Again, if somebody can find a better way or the next step from GMO, I am all for it. If you want to sit there and debate how your article about that guy in France died from eating a GMO tomato, find somewhere else to discuss it. It ain't happening here. Thank you very much. Leave a comment. Look forward to hearing them, guys.